The Watcher stalks among the ruins of what the men of Tharbad called North Bank. Glancing across the river, he sees white threads of smoke rising from the southern edge of the city. The Gondorian has kept his fire burning through the night and into the day. What can the brat be planning? Is he preparing to turn back, or will he try to cross the Gwathlo further downstream? There's nothing for him down there. The Watcher broods at the loss of his rowing boat, but then smiles at the fun he had with the Gondorian's horse. It amuses him to watch how tenacious the brat is. Ancient, rain-worn steps take him to the upper floor of a large townhouse, its roof long gone. He heaves a chipped coin closer to the south wall of the building and sits and watches. In the afternoon, he chews on some dried beef as he stares across the river. The thin, grey line of smoke has become hypnotic, soothing. The sound of birds and sheep among the ruins has faded from his mind. There is only the smoke, and when the smoke fades, the Watcher will move. His whole purpose since birth has been to obey. Since he was wrenched from his Dunlending mother's womb, he has been shaped, moulded, twisted, until the human half of his being was crushed. All that is left is intelligence and endurance, the things his master had in the machinations of his mind when he conceived the Watcher's kind. He is well aware that Sharky has his will firmly in his grasp. Even from distant Orthanc, he can feel the reins pulling at his neck. And despite the horse and the fancy mannish clothes, he is never for one moment allowed to forget his orcishness. The Watcher will follow the Gondorian until he fulfills his master's orders. Until then, he will not, cannot rest. On the second day, the smoke from the fire sputters to a leaning column of puffs. The Watcher packs his crossbow and provisions and works his way through the ruins towards the eastern walls. A wide street, lined with tall pines, takes him above the floodline, but soon slopes down to the gates that once stood, guarding the city through countless decades of war and strife. Two towers, jagged and broken, lean out from the walls. He stands in the shadow and looks out over the expanse of dark water that stretches out from the foot of the approach to the gates. A thin band of green marks the uncertain riverbank. To get to the dike, he would have to wade through icy water, who knows how deep, and then he would run the risk of being seen once exposed on the earthwork. Better to skirt the marshes and trudge through the old barrows to the north, pick up the river further upstream. By late afternoon, the Watcher has left the floodlands behind. The land now is thick with sheep that scatter from his passage. He will head north and east to the river, but is wary of being seen once he arrives there. He needs some kind of subterfuge. As the sun starts to sink beyond the old barrows, the Watcher finds a shepherd lounging under a yellowing oak, his wide-brimmed felt hat pulled over his eyes, a crook across his lap, a hound curled up at his feet. The Watcher skirts the tree in a wide arc through long grass until he is behind the shepherd. He creeps towards the oak, unseen by the man and his dog. As he climbs the knoll on which the tree stands, he slowly draws one of his long knives. It's then a simple task of cutting the shepherd's throat. He makes no struggle, no sound, and the sleeping dog does not stir. Only after donning the shepherd's cloak does the hound raise its head. At first confused, it springs to its feet and lollops towards the Watcher, its tongue dangling. The Watcher drops to his knee and rubs the hound under its chin. He's always had a way with animals. He spends the next day strolling along the river. The shepherd's hat is welcome against the bright sun. The dog follows the Watcher, and the sheep follow the dog. After a few leagues, he sees thin smoke rising beyond the river. The brat's indulgent appetite will be his undoing. As he draws level with the last puffs of smoke, he rests and whistles. The dog comes bounding towards him, and he throws a stick out into the grass. As he looks upriver, he sees the Gondorian's head peek above the dike. The Watcher crouched in the undergrowth above the reed beds. He cocked his crossbow and leveled it at the Gondorian. He was about to shoot when an arrow streaked across his face. The she-elf was standing half hidden among the reeds. The Watcher dropped as she drew her bow again. The arrow whistled for an instant before fouling in the reeds nearby. Through the green, he could see her shouldering her bow. She drew a pair of long knives from her back sheaths and pounced towards him. The Watcher sprang up, drawing his own long knives. The four blades clashed, whirling and flashing as they danced around each other. Hewn reeds scattered as the pair moved from the undergrowth to the high riverbank below the weir. The Watcher inwardly cursed the she-elf as she forced him ever closer to the river. After a few more steps back, she lunged at him. He parried and hooked one of the long knives from her grasp. She slashed with the other, and he dodged. She lunged again, and he dodged again. She tripped, and for an instant, she lost her balance. The Watcher jabbed at her belly, and she cried out. The Watcher could feel the soft edge of the riverbank with his heel. The she-elf kicked at his hip, and he toppled into the water. The dead shepherd's cloak wrapped about him, and the swift current took him. Boromir peeked over the top of his shield and watched the half-orc flailing in the water as the river pulled it away.
"It seems it wasn't a shepherd after all,"
said Finduilas. He started to gather his clothes from the stepping stones. When he looked around for his blanket, he saw it floating in an eddy at the foot of the weir. His frying pan and bottle were nowhere to be seen. Boromir dragged himself from the river, pushing against the face of the weir and onto the pebbles of the north bank. After dumping his wet clothes, he ran through the reeds. Tauriel, pale and exhausted, was lying among the flattened stalks, her darkened hand pressed against her belly. They both looked down at the blood oozing between her fingers. She looked up at him.
"Help me."
Boromir started towards her, then paused. He glanced back towards his clothes, then looked at her wound. They held each other's gaze for a long moment, then finally he stepped away until she disappeared among the reeds.
"Help me,"
she murmured. Faramir looks up at Finduilas as he weeps.
"I will never leave you,"
she murmurs. Slowly standing, she takes him by the hand, leading him to the edge of the jetty. Boromir's voice is muted, as though he's underwater.
Faramir.
He is now on the jetty, a few steps from the cool grass. He stares at his mother and brother at the far end, knowing what is to come. But he cannot move. He looks down and sees that his bare feet are made of wood, rooted to the deck of the jetty.